was looking at the heroes that they've been playing, because he has relatively small hero pool, and if you open up his Dota Pro tracker, he did play 4 Magnus games in the last 7 days.
Might be a crazy suggestion, but I kind of want XSS to play the chaotic hero that does anything. He's played like Bristle before, but I don't think they care about teamfight anymore. They don't care about the scaling. They just want a noisy hero from the offlane. So potentially throw him on like a Bristle, throw him on a hero that can just, farm up the early stats, because Void can't farm the Ancient. Shadow Fiend also doesn't really, I mean he can, but I feel like an early stack taker on Extreme, plus map playing hero, soak up the initiation of the Mars, and then give free entry to the fight with the Void or the Shadow Fiend. That's kind of like the archetype of the offlane I'm looking for.
Well, XXS, when he first came into the scene, it was his Legion Commander that's shown brightest, but I don't know if that hero is dead.
It's pretty dead.
Oh, too bad. It would be really nice.
I mean, if you're talking about noise, we just saw a Timber Saw go overall forgotten in a draft and do a lot of damage in that last pick.
But no, like Bristleback for me sounds really exciting. It also adds goo to amp the tag team, the Drinking Buddies, the Shadow Fiend with the Void. Like, I think it adds the extra layer of complexity of how do you even beat it. And then same thing, I think Timber, sure, can work really well. But
I think Kunkka, if Kunkka's still available, right? Something cheap could be really good, something that buys auras, because you have Shadow Fiend, Faceless Void. I don't want to see something super greedy. I think it needs to be something that comes online relatively early on. And the reason why I like it so much is we've seen how good it is against the Mars in certain situations.
Ooh,
okay, second Lycan of the tournament. Aurora yesterday, they did bring it up one time, and it looked good. It looked much better than expected with the Wolf facet.
Oh, we got some animals coming out here. The wolf versus the bear.
I don't know which one I like more. The Extreme, the Lycan, it's really exciting when you have the Wolf facet, finding the Shadow Demon, constantly scouting with the wolves, the little roots. It's so obnoxious to play against. And Tundra, it's like, they do not want to get to mid to late game against Extreme's lineup. They do not want them to have 2 to 3 items on their cores, so they go for a Lone Druid. They want to try and break that offlane, prevent Lycan from having a good time. And
I have a couple of notes. I think that Lycan yesterday when Jabs played it versus Extreme completely made Sniper's game difficult in the early game, so that last pick is great for them. As for the Lone Druid, it can pose problems, but Extreme Gaming have beat Lone Druid before in games where Lone Druid has stomped them in the early game. Once, back when they were on the Azure Ray with the triple X's, they were playing versus Gaming Gladiators. Ace was completely crushing them with Lone Druid. They made the comeback and they beat him. In this tournament, they did the same thing. They beat a Lone Druid during the group stages. So if I have faith in a team to beat that hero, it is Extreme Gaming.
Both teams stole a pick, like these crazy picks from the teams that they played against yesterday. So now we have Lycan against Lone Druid, and they're going to use it to their own advantage. Extreme Gaming, it is greedy. This is Faceless Void, Lycan. Lycan, even though he comes online relatively early on, you still have Shadow Fiend on your team. Not a lot of setup in terms of how they're going to play the fights early on. So Ame, we've seen him being very active. So time zone, this is what I want to see again, where he jumps into a fight, slows them down, leashes them, and then go from there.
Massive timer for Tundra. They need to win early. The later this game goes, Extreme has the entire late game. So if you're a Tundra fan, 30 minutes on the clock, get it going. If they haven't won by then, it's going to be real difficult.
Okay, let's see what's going to happen in this first game of this best of 3 in the lower bracket. Before we head to that game, though, we're first going to check in with Coach Maps, who's talking to Tsunami.
Thank you very much. I am joined by Maps, coach of Extreme, and Helen will be helping me translate because I wanted to know about how the meta has evolved. We are now on the second to last day of this event, but we've been going through the road all this time. How has the strategies, the hero picks changed over all these days?
这个比赛也打了那么多天了，我们想问一下，你对整个战术上的大趋势有什么改变，有什么看法呢？
就可能大家更注重线上，然后各个队每个队都有自己喜欢玩的东西，然后去针对嘛。
I think that everyone prioritizes lanes, and every team has their own specialties, heroes that they love to play. So it's around that.
Well, on the topic of specialty heroes, I'm also wondering, how do you as a coach prepare for a player like Thompson, who has like an endless wealth? He can play basically any hero under the sun mid. What do you do to deal with that?
就说到喜欢打的英雄，我们想问一下，你对于对手有那么一位选手 Thompson， 游戏里面可选的英雄他都有可能玩，去怎么针对他呢？
首先他是一个英雄是非常广的选手，就也没有特意去针对他吧，只是让他的节奏可以缓和一点。我们也能猜到他可能是个火枪手，所以选了个狼人，就昨天欧罗拉教我们的嘛。
So Thompson has a super wide hero pool. He can play anything, and we did expect that he would play sniper. Ooh. But we took out something of our own. We picked Lycan that we learned from Aurora yesterday.
All right then, I love the creativity. Maps, best of luck in this game number 1 as we send it to our casters.
The uncrowned Prince of China still awaits a coronation that has already been denied twice. This time, standing in his way is a Royal Road Regent looking to add a third Aegis to his armory. It's Ame versus Thompson, Extreme versus Tundra. It's China versus Europe, Avery.
This match has been in the making for a long time. The funny thing is, I think these are two teams who, yeah, top 6 is great, but it is not enough for either of these squads. They want more. I don't think they're going to be satisfied with top 4. They might not even be satisfied with the top 3, but these are difficult opponents to get through to clinch that grand finals berth. This is where it all starts for both of these squads, and I think this has potential to be an absolutely explosive match. We have seen the chemistry between these two teams grow over the course of the tournament. We've seen the meta develop. We've seen the creativity as well between these two squads. That's what strikes me the most. They're willing to pick up some of these heroes other teams are not willing to play, willing to steal strats from their opponents, willing to bust out heroes that even if it falls completely flat, they still have the confidence to run. And we are absolutely seeing that here with some of these picks down the stretch.
Now, you say explosive, but the draft seems to imply that we're going to be looking at something a little bit slower here, or at least that's what we would expect from certain heroes like Faceless Void, Lone Druid perhaps, but how do you view this draft and how it's going to clash?
I mean, both teams have some tempo setters. Like, you have heroes that can take down the tier 1s very early in the game. You have heroes that can play off some low cooldowns. Sure, you have some of those bigger teamfight spells as well on both sides. Heroes like the Mars or Faceless Void, even the Sniper are okay going late. But on the flip side, the Lycan and the Lone Druid are going to want to push. They're going to want to take objectives, and they're going to want to find these supports or break that front line as fast as they can. I am also looking towards this Lone Druid Lycan lane, because in theory, I think Lone Druid can win any lane in Dota. It's very hard to out-execute this hero. But if XXS gets a good start here and he can disable the backline from Tundra, can really open up the fight.
So the laning phase is going to be particularly important. See that Thompson versus XM matchup. A lot of talk about that on the panel. The Sniper being taken away from Extreme and XM in particular and put into the hands of Thompson, who I think before this year was heralded as probably the best sniper mid in the world.
Yeah, I think you have two mid laners who would both say they're the best sniper in the world. One of them has to be wrong by default, but they would both claim that prize. The interesting thing about this mid lane is that XG picked the SF into the Sniper, knowing the Sniper was coming out and knowing it was likely mid, because Tundra have not had a lot of success with the support Sniper this tournament. I think it was very unlikely they wanted to push it into that role. But historically, this is an awful lane matchup for Shadowfiend. You kind of get owned on the lane. The in-game isn't too much better. I think the Kaya build up into early Blink can help you in this matchup. You just play more of a spellcaster, find the Sniper early on in the fight with a stun and blow him up with Requiem. It definitely helps this matchup a lot, but I'm a little surprised they went to the SF that early in the draft when you kind of know this lane matchup is supposed to be decent for the Sniper at least.
And we see the magic damage build SF. That is a Shadowfiend that, you know, had his time in the sun and very quickly got roasted in the middle of the year, right? Like, it was just popping up a lot. People were drafting it a lot, and it just could not seem to close out games.
I mean, maybe that's why you pair it with the Void here, right?
Sure.
You need the extra punch in that late game. There is almost no hero better than the Faceless Void, and almost no better player in the world on this hero right now than Ame. He is the one carry who's been picking this hero through thick and thin. Even in the patches where it hasn't been great, he's still been willing to pick it up and experiment with this time zone and looking for a first blood.
Down, a first blood on the table, whips the spear, and Ame and DY will get the kill.
That is a huge pickup for this XG safe lane. When you are getting kills with Faceless Void, you feel like you are just winning the game. straight up. And this is going to be a very strong ultimate for XG to play around as well. Normally, I would say this is a lineup where you have to worry about how you're positioning the Chronos so that your SF and Lycan can still have teamfight impact. Do not have to worry about it this game at all with the time zone. XG strike first blood here. Will get on the board, and the lanes overall going very well for them. You have XXS basically free farming this off lane. He's not getting bullied off the lane in the early waves by the lone druid. And the SF is going fairly even mid, honestly. I thought with some of the early shrapnel abuse, Thompson might take a stronger lead, but XM holding his own.
They've got an interesting bit of synergy. I was taking a look at some of the facets there, and Jakiro no longer opting for the ice facet that everybody was going throughout the year. That was pretty much like, it was overpowered, let's be clear. It needed to be nerfed. Now opting for the liquid fire in this place, combined with the time zone and even the Alpha Wolves, we've got some kind of synergy between just anti-attack speed.
Yep.
Right? They're going to be throwing, this bear could have a very hard time getting hits in these team fights.
I think XG are very happy with how this Jakiro pick developed into Tundra's lineup, because this used to be one of the old school counters to Lone Druid in general. Just mask the attack speed slows similar to Phoenix. It's a good matchup for Jakiro for sure. Not a carry that gap closes him, not a hero he really has to worry about. You just throw all your spells out on the fight and the bear has to fight through it. So I think XG are kind of happy with how that worked out. And like you said, a lot of attack slows for this bear to fight through. Pure, he wants a very strong early game here so he can just control when Tundra are forcing the objectives, and you kind of overcome that deficit in the team fight.
Yeah. And then on the other side, another interesting facet that Observer was pointing out, we've got hookup for the Clockwork. So we've seen this here and there. It sometimes feel like maybe it's less about the hookup and more about just having smaller cogs in certain matchups. But do you think this is something he's actually going to use defensively for this sniper and this lone druid hero?
Yeah, I mean, when your team gets time zoned, you hook shot in and they get a bunch of armor, and then you're stuck there too.
That's
so
right.
Perfect synergy
good.
You're looking for. I think the armor can be nice in the late game. It's nice for the bear. I don't know if you can hook shot the bear, or you really want to, but hey, if the bear blocks you, then I guess it works out either way.
Yeah, this combination of all these AoE disables that they have, I do question whether or not the Clockwork wants to stack hero on top of heroes between Time Zone, Ice Path, Macro Pyre, SF ult.
Yes,
you know, it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot of team fight. I'm also looking towards this Shadow Demon. It's been a very influential hero this tournament. Soxa is one of the best players on this hero in the world. And I'm more looking towards the cleanse. Like, I feel like at a certain point in this game, you almost want to throw the cleanse on the bear to help him out. Just debuff a lot of those attack speeds, those we were talking about, and help him output the damage that you need. This Lone Druid Faceless Void matchup can get scary if the Lone Druid gets out of control. He just starts barreling down your objectives. If you mess up one time zone fight, suddenly Pure has 2 minutes where he doesn't have to worry about a team fight. He's going to take Roshan, he's going to take your buildings, he's going to farm the map. This is not a game where XG can idly throw out these ultimates and just say, okay, like we got a random support kill for our big ults, we're happy with that. Tundra are going to be able to take a lot off the map during that period.
Touching on the Shadow Demon, you like the cleanse for this game, but why has this hero been so popular and so successful in this meta?
He's a very good stacker. I think his laning got improved a lot, and I think he's really nice with the frontline heroes that have developed in this tournament. Heroes like the Sand King or whatever, you go in, your spells are doing massive damage. If you commit on the Sand King, Disruption bails him out while his spells are still running. Some of these combinations like that are really obnoxious to teamfight into, and of course, I mean, Shadow Demon, his scale is monstrous. You go into the late game with this hero, he always has tools he can build into. He's a hard save, he's a hard BKB piercing disable. It's pretty hard to go wrong with that toolkit.
Yeah, and in this case, you've got some very clear backline you want to be able to save between the Sniper and the Lone Druid hero.
Absolutely.
And especially the Lone Druid hero, right? Putting that, if they try and go on the hero, you put him under the disruption, the bear is still, you know, swinging on you during that time.
So I will say, if you have to disrupt the Lone Druid, you might be in a bit more trouble than you bargained for. That hero, in theory, should not need a disruption.
And could just set up for something like a Shadow Fiend ultimate in certain points of the game. Shinkyu barely able to get away from the bear. Throws back a little shard. Bit of pressure coming out from Tundra.
Tundra winning this laning phase for sure. We're starting to see that gap open up a little bit more on mid. 14 denies for the Sniper. Denying some of that experience out from the SF in the one-on-one. In fact, XM just forced into the jungle early. Getting a little bit of some stacks going for himself. Not too sad about this, but this is kind of the downside of that SF pick into the Sniper. You're giving Thompson a very good laning phase here. He's going to have very high solo experience on the map, and if he can get involved in some early skirmishes or make rotations, this is a hero. I think XM might be the best sniper in the world, but I think Thompson is the best at using this hero in the early game. Especially if he starts that snowball and he has supports that can play around him. So we'll see how many resources XG decide to put into stopping the sniper around the map, because we've already seen him just rotate the bottom, has an observer ward as well. This is a strong rotation. Do not know if XXS is ready for this at all.
Yeah, they saw some of this coming. They're going to pop the glyph to try and keep XX close by. They got him inside the cogs. A guaranteed kill for TUNDRA. And some pressure on that off-lane tower. TUNDRA.
6 minutes, though, coming up the clock. So maybe you sacrifice the power rune with this move, but no. Soxa wins the 50-50 anyway. And is going to output some free damage on this SF as his mana pool climbs back up. Very clean rotation here from TUNDRA, getting the sniper involved early. Now, the big question mark here is, do you rotate back to bottom again to try and kill this Lycan one more time on the TPN and look for the 7-minute Wisdom Rune? That would be some huge rotation potential in the next minute here.
A massive win, and Extreme have been subject to that kind of pressure before.
Yep.
You're going to catch him here on the Assassinate, just a bit of damage. Push him back, disruption, a couple more shadow poisons, a blood grenade even. Does he think he can actually get this kill? It's going to rely on landing the poisons. He got a fourth one, needs a fifth one, he got the fifth one! Soxa, the hired assassin, sharp on his mark, brings him down!
What a move. I thought this was just some harass to clear up the map, but Soxa says, no, my friend.
What a pickup for TUNDRA. The stand-in doing some serious work for TUNDRA as they manage to get a kill on the enemy mid. 7-minute Wisdom Runes do pop up. It's just claimed on either side. No steals here, but damage on the mid tower is beginning to ramp up.
And some morale damage as well. Like, your SF is just dying to a Shadow Demon. There's nothing else happening on the map. This lane was already rough. You traded out the Wisdom Runes, which I think XG are happy about, but you're looking at this net worth chart, and it is a little worrying if you start to continue to fall behind in this early game. Are you going to have the manpower to defend your tier 1s against the push that can come? And guess what? It's here.
What a push it is. TUNDRA, two-man rotation through the gates, trying to catch Ame here. Ame, one-time walk to work with, will be able to walk it off. Can DY do the same? No damage coming in just yet, but they are going to be able to keep this loop around. Is there going to be anybody from Extreme who are going to counter-rotate? Are they just giving up on this? It seems like with 5 heroes in the top part of the map, Extreme say, whatever, man, you can have it.
They're going to trade bottom out with the Lycan. That is what they're trying to get right now. Also got a lot of tower damage mid with this Shadow Fiend. Soxa will deny himself back to base. This is not the worst objective trade for XG on the map right now if they don't bleed out some big heroes. They just don't have ults to defend this. You're missing the time zone. Your SF was kind of low on resources, but now they're making the delayed rotation, so TUNDRA do not want to get caught up here. Ramses.
XM throws out the arena. XM stuck on the other side of it, but close enough to get some raises in. And Q will be able to finish it up for XM, no problem. And now it's in turn Extreme Gaming's chance to take that support kill, or core kill rather, and hit some tower.
Thompson just wailing on this tier 1 mid in the meantime, trying to return the favor. He's going to get it pretty low as XG just commit everybody for this top tier 1 as well. A lot of early tower damage and pressure in this game.
Which tower do you think is worth more? Which real estate is more valuable here?
I mean, honestly, the fact XG got this offlane tier 1 is not a tower I would have expected to go down, where I think these tier 1s mid are inevitable. Like, you were going to get this no matter what.
Sure.
Is this going to open up some room for the Void, make those rotations into XG safe lane a little bit harder? I feel like XG kind of won this trade by some small margins. Like, when you can win these objective trades early with a Faceless Void, you should be happy. And we've seen XG prioritize Ame's farm a lot on this hero in the early games. They are not afraid to commit resources into the Void to have him pay it back later. Nonetheless, a lot of space for Thompson around this mid lane now. They're going to get the deep wards out, try and look for, you know, some of those cheeky pickoffs on the SF or some supports roaming through.
Now, Extreme should know, general idea where that ward is, because they had a ward after the tower died. They know that kind of invasion is coming their way, so they had a ward out to see the move.
Ame flanking in the river.
Ame cutting in. Looks like they've already caught Whitemon. Ame's looking for a bit more. While they get Whitemon, Ame thinks about whether or not he can keep chasing. 10-minute power rune is what he's going to play for here, and does manage to get an amp damage.
That's a nice rune to take away. I mean, I don't know if he wants to be in the river with the Void at 10 minutes, but he will gladly take the rune away. And
well, he certainly doesn't want to be top, where the Lone Druid has come through the gate once again to, if nothing else, take the tower.
So there's a deep ward up here for XG that can kind of control TUNDRA's movement through that side of the map. But they probably have other plans, which is, you know, get this Lone Druid massively farmed up top with a lot of the space that's been opened up, and get some stacks going for the sniper. You want to hit these first 2 damage items and then take a good fight off that. Meantime, this tower is still alive bottom. It feels like a lot of this early game is coming down to these tier 1s. Which team gets the better exchanges around them. Do have that HOD up for XXS down here. He would love to start pushing some buildings and getting some real estate of his own. And
the bear, hounded by wolves, has to summon a new one here in order to try and contest the Lycan push that's coming in. Jin-Q sitting on the side here, spotted by Whitemon. Scouts him out with the flare. Do they want to try and defend this?
Man, Ame has... He has been active in this early game with this Void. Yeah. Maybe not finding the fights or the damage, but he has made a lot of moves on this hero. So we'll open up the last tower on the side lane for Tundra. Create some space and pressure for XG if they can get these lanes in deep. Still have that tier 1 mid to play around.
We're also still waiting on the level 6s for some of these supports. Like the Clockwork would make it a lot easier to catch these supports, but they'll find DY anyway, trying to D-ward. Gets denied by Thompson. Ame finds some space at the top lane, just keeps on. I feel like he's playing a little game of cat and mouse, or maybe cat and bear, as he's trying to stay away from wherever Pure is set up, right?
He's the big threat on the map. Like, the Mars and the Clock are going to be your initiation every single fight. So if you keep track of them, you should be good on this map. And they are rushing towards the Gleipnir on the Lone Druid, and it'll be Hurricane Pike first for Thompson on this sniper. So those are going to be the two big fighting items for Tundra. Would not be surprised if they force an earlier Roshan than maybe XG are ready for in this game, particularly if some of the ults get thrown out. We've yet to see a time zone in this game, yet to really see a Requiem. Do have to blink first on XM's SF as well. So this really shows you he wants to try and abuse some of the aspects of this SF sniper matchup as much as he can. Find some of those early kills. Put it to use. Still a very even game across the board.
Yeah, Tundra just getting a 2,000 net worth lead, nothing major. A large part of that probably due to the tower advantage that they hold.
Should keep in mind some of this minus armor synergy XG have as well between the Lycan and the SF. It's a pretty deadly combination for supports. If you ever just get caught randomly in the fight, the wolves start eating you. You get chunked pretty fast on some of these low armor heroes.
Yeah.
If I'm Tundra, I want an AC at some point in this game. I would not mind a Shivas as well. Super valuable item versus these three right-clicking
through. Great target to be able to find. Got him on the other side of the shards, and then no! Couldn't get off the Requiem. Ramsey's interrupt.
He will not get it off.
Will not get it off. Denied for the full swing of Tundra as they turn that gank around.
Beautiful play from Ramses. Absolutely reading the map, backing up the vulnerable hero in this Thompson sniper and protecting him in this early game, and you get a big reward for 2 kills plus that SF going down, losing some souls. That was the blink move into the Requiem that you wanted to work, and you never even got there. And these are the types of misplays that if you get baited into these plays as XG, you lose some heroes, your towers and your map space is going to start to fall very fast to the Lone Druid.
Oh yeah, every fight that you lose, every gank that goes wrong, I feel like you're going to see the exact same scenario, which is Pure and his bear immediately hitting some sort of objective. They look to protect their Wisdom Rune instead of finishing off that tower, which is an interesting idea of priorities there.
Did get the glyph. He'll trade the Wisdom Rune, force Ame back to his side of the map. It was a decent amount of space for the Faceless Void, but still an exchange Tundra are very happy with. Now a 4K net worth. Pushing towards some more fighting items. BKB on the Mars would be huge here.
Especially since that save, yeah, it'll get the Hurricane Pike, which means now the Tusk is going to be way less effective against this sniper.
You need this time zone now. Like, you are getting point where Ame has to join the fights to help you lock down these heroes and set the SF damage up. The Tusk is not good enough right now. This is also a point where XXS is pretty strong. Like, he went for an HOD into Drum, 2 early fighting items. You would like to get some skirmishes going with this Lycan, or just be able to even do Roshan right now if Tundra mess up on the map. Feels like you need kills to open that up though. So they're gonna make a smoke play, 3 of them. Not the easiest initiation for XG. Kind of just have to land a shard. And even then, like we saw on that previous gank, it's not a guaranteed kill. They'll spot Whitemon.
Gonna try and go for him. He defends himself. This is up.
Found the sniper.
Go for it. Hold the snowball over the top of all these heroes. It doesn't actually stun anybody in time, so XM completely whiffs the Requiem. Just a shy bit of damage there. And Extreme
will have to turn suit and get on out of here. Another failed play for them. Does this mean Tundra is going to get aggressive again? Does that mean they're going to try and take another objective? They immediately three-man smoke up and see what they can find.
Going straight into the triangle. Aggressive play, but they know there's no Lycan ult, no Requiem. And XG are likely going to split up on the map, so this should be a clean pickoff of whoever they find.
Try and get some vision, set up Ramses with his blink initiation, not even needed for DY in this case. He's going to blink deeper into the side of the map, look for other heroes, but it's just DY. Once again, like time and time again, this man has been abandoned as Extreme. No, they cannot stand toe-to-toe against Tundra if even one of their spells is on cooldown.
And just look at how fast that tier 2 falls. This is the importance of finding kills with these ults on the side of XG. Tundra are going to get a lot out of the map every time you mess up. And that was just very on-point delivery of that Hurricane Pike for Thompson. That is what gets him out of that gank, and I think it was delivered less than 30 seconds before that gank hits. So laning phase for Thompson paying off here. They've yet to find a kill on this sniper in this game. That would be the biggest prize for XG to slow this game down. They'll have to just fall back on Ame farming. Or do they want to try and force Roshan? Again, they have a lineup that can do it very fast with SF Lycan.
Oh, that is an interesting proposition.
This is sneaky. I don't think Tundra are ready for this at all. They're not even in a position to try and test this.
No, they would have to try and go through the gate, and that would probably be a death sentence with some big AoE spells like Pit Time Zone at the ready. So
you cannot clump versus XG lineup. So this is just free Aegis into the hands of Ame, I would suspect, yeah.
But will that change much? I feel like an Aegis on a Faceless Void isn't going to stop Tundra from doing what they're doing right now.
This is not a great Aegis for team fighting, but it is an Aegis you took away from the Lone Druid. I think Pure would have loved to pick this up somewhere in the next few minutes here. Enable his pushing, enable this Gleipnir Bear timing. He's going straight into Diffusal. It's just going to be early fighting items. Tundra are gearing up for the early push.
This Bear's a little bit low. Might be able to pick up the kill on that, and he does.
Plus 300.
Forces a resummon.
You still see, though, XG, like, they do not want to fight this tier 2.
No.
Just trying to get as much as they can. Trying to get to the Kaya Yasha on the SF to help him get the Requiem off. And not going to be Helm of the Overlord. XXS just building, thinking about Vlad's here, more aura items.
Yeah, I picked up the Shard nice and early to try and keep, you know, these lanes pushed in, create more space for him and Ame to be able to find farm. But, you know, push eventually comes to shove. Feel like Tundra would not be... I feel like they could kind of go high ground at some point in time. Extreme are just going to keep dodging, right?
It feels like they almost want to, but there's just stuff to claim on the map. Kira will TP back, try and find the Jakiro again, and they will get it.
DY time and time again. He'll pay the price for the rest of his allies.
Actually, continuing to dodge. I mean, it's starting to feel like whenever this time zone goes out, might decide a lot in this game, because we've yet to see it.
It better be the best time zone you've ever seen at this point, because we've been waiting for it for probably 10 minutes at this. But Ame holding on to it.
See how bold Ramses feels here with this Invis rune. I don't think he's going triangle with it, but again, it feels like if you get a pick off near XG's base, you just push the high ground, right? Bring everybody back, worst case scenario. Oh!
My goodness, that was a close call right there.
I mean, again, that is an extremely important blink dodge. Because if you get killed right there on this SF, your high ground's getting pushed.
Yep, that is the real dangerous part about dealing with any of these lanes. As close you are to your base, it also means Tundra is very close to your base as well. They would much prefer that Tundra tries to hunt down like Ame. On the other side of the map here, pull all these heroes away, and they're going to do just that. He's got an Aegis. He's got some time walks. He's going to have to make some smooth moves to get out of this one. His first life is already forfeit.
Where's the help? Everybody's so far on the map for XG.
A hook shot to follow this up, perhaps. Immediately a fear is going to be used, and they've got him easily. A Requiem that barely touches Tundra for a third time. Requiem's just not finding their mark. Extreme not getting to the position in time to defend their carry.
And what will Tundra get out of this? 20 seconds, no Faceless Void. I mean, the good thing for XG is this Void's so low level. His respawn timer is pretty fast here. That was a nice obs from Tundra in their own jungle. I think Ame just didn't expect it. Allows for an easy setup here, and they get the double kill. This is where this bear is starting to hit hard. That defusal came online. Pure almost level 15 on this Lone Druid. He is very far ahead of this Faceless Void. This is where you want to be in this matchup. Faceless Void really struggles to deal with the timings Lone Druid can put out, and in the team fight with the roots and the extra disable. Even the mana burn's obnoxious. XG with a smoke of their own, they want to get this Lycan active. Vlad's is done for XXS. He has triple aura basically. But what can you do with it? We've seen the catch and the lockdown be the issue.
I mean, a Hurricane Pike is only going to take Thompson so far here. The Lycan might be able to run him down, especially with these Alpha Wolves. They've got him surrounded. The shards, okay, and now there's a push away, and Lycan has totally given up on this one. He's left Xin-Q behind, since just one hero showing himself, the Shadow Team, and was enough to deter that. Thompson from one shot to another. There's a second one at XXS, which Whitemon is not going to keep pursuing. He had the hook shot, but no follow-up besides that, so it's fine. 11-3 at 11,000 net worth leads that continues to grow and grow for Tundra.
Another failed smoke move from XG, another wasted Lycanol just to run away. As you've given up your ancient control, this is where one of your last wards is on the map too. XG want to use it, want to fight.
Whitemon gets out.
Just
nice
no catch.
And clean. Just Cogs, hits one, gets out. What happened to Pure? Man just died to Tormentor.
Yeah, he got absolutely murdered by this thing.
All right, Extreme, a fourth kill on the board. They didn't do anything to deserve it.
Well, that is one way to bleed away some of your lead on this Lone Druid.
Those Tormentors, man, they'll get you.
It killed his bear, and he died basically to the Pure damage rebound off the bear dying. Well, Pure struggles versus the PvE creeps on the map continue here.
Fitting that, you know, with BB Team out of the tournament, somebody else has to take up the mantle of the Tormentor.
Did it for the boys out there. Though I will say, this is a big death. It's a lot of breathing room for XG right now. In a game they were struggling to find some opening. He's going back for round 2. Okay.
All right.
I'm just saying, my man, if this one doesn't work, we got to go back and do some math here. So the fight is breaking out bottom. XM gone.
Congrats on your Tormentor. Ramses, meanwhile, he'll win some fights for you. A BKB arena that catches 2.
These tag team ganks for XG have not worked out at all.
No.
Ramses, he's just read them too well. He's in the right place every time. And his SF with no BKB just can't do anything in that sort of engagement.
I do call into question the wisdom of going for two-man ganks in the first place when I feel like we've seen Tundra willing to move 3 or 4 heroes around the map together.
Yep. It just hasn't worked. They're continuing to try and get it to work because they just don't want to bring their farmers into these moves, because then if they go wrong, you're really screwed. You're currently falling behind as XG, but you do have a chance to contest this next Roshan. You're going to not have the SF BKB, though. That's the big missing component here.
Yeah. And probably where it went wrong there in that arena fight. So, 11,000 down to 8K after an unfortunate death from Pure, but back up to 11K, recovered by Ramses and crew.
And look at this itemization on Thompson. This is a TI throwback right here, a defusal on a hero that I don't know if XG expected here. Double defusal blade out for Tundra in this match, trying to remove the Faceless Void's mana.
And also just giving them a counter to Time Zone, right? When they get the upgrade, they'll be able to just whoo.
Disperser, super value in this match.
And a Boots of Bearing as a third counter to it as well. Potentially Xin-Q trying to buy himself a little bit of time here. That's all he will do. Time. It's the only resources he has. No HP to work with.
Feels like by the time you see a Time Zone in this game, you're already going to have the itemization counters to it.
Yes.
You're running out of time here if you are XG. And the bear has met your base. The disperser's already done for Pure. So there's one of your answers online. Glyph already down as well. That's an early Glyph. Door is open for Tundra right now.
Where's Extreme giving this up? All 3 different heroes out on the map right now. Finally, one of them comes back into Jakiro. Backdoor protection is up. They're getting cut right now.
Yeah,
that's what's happening. Lycan managed to get the next wave in. So Tundra did what damage they could. And then, no, they have to call it quits. The Alpha Wolves come out to play.
Very heads-up move from XXS to stop this push that I don't think XG felt like they were going to win that fight head-on. This is a game of bend, don't break, continue to stall, try and get to the BKBs on the Void and the SF here. You can take that one good fight and come back in this game. That's all XG need. But Tundra are continuing to build a lead. Soxa getting messed up by these Wolves, man. These are no joke.
Yeah, that hamstring ability that the Alpha Wolves has can be deadly, but the Solar Crest goes a very long ways in protecting him, both with the extra barrier and the extra armor.
It's just side lanes. I mean, that is all XG are playing for right now. Get these two side lanes in as deep as possible. That Lycan Shard helps. Someone always has to come back from Tundra, then you can look for an opening, stalls the push. However, the second disperser online for this sniper.
There go the Wolves again. Another push is coming down mid, and the Wolves are trying to push out. One on the left side of the mid lane, one on the right side. One of the Wolves is already dead. The other one might still be able to cut the next wave coming in.
This is a catapult. XG cannot prevent the backdoor going down here. Thompson just laying into it from the low ground. I mean, are you going to take this fight or just give up the racks to try and get to your BKBs? It almost feels like you just want to give this up.
Ramsey's coming back. A disruption to set things up on XM, who has no BKB to defend himself. He is all offense, no defense. A nice snowball into the neutral camp that they had vision of. He tries to go for a desperate TP out, but he is stuck here. The Cogs stop that one pretty easily. And once again, a duo of Extreme that play together and die together.
And another rush just to get some of these lanes out in desperation. No Wolves on mid to cut this wave. He's sending a Golem creep for it. The hero that XG need right now.
Go, 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 throws at that rock. The little Golems come out, but they'll only last so long. Now the Wolves will try and pop out of invincibility, buying them a bit of time. But Tundra, yeah, as long as the Wolf is invisible, they don't even have to worry about it too much. It's dragging the creep way that they're worried about right now. It's close enough. Backdoor protection is down.
Range racks for sure here.
Yeah.
See how much more Pure gets. He will activate his ult and say, what are you going to do about it? And apparently nothing. XG concede a lane in favor of taking the fight with their BKB timings.
I mean, it's raid Extreme. They're bending over backwards at this point. One lane of barracks now potentially giving up two, just in some sort of desperate ploy not to take a full-on team fight. They feel they cannot win without BKBs, but those BKBs, they seem so far away with the pressure that Tundra is putting on them. They go for it anyway. They try and get this fight with a time zone, but here he goes. Disperser on out of there. They'll leave the bear behind. That's the best bounty Extreme can get out of that situation. And Tundra can probably go back to it if they want.
They used Lycan ult as well. They didn't get the Ags on the Jakiro, so that spell is something Tundra are going to have to think about. DUI was farming up a lot in this game. A time zone committed as well. Do Tundra just hang around here and go high ground again when this next LD ult is up? You're looking at only 40 seconds here for another true form.
No macro pyre, no time zone,
yeah, I think
no
you
shape
force it.
shift.
I don't think you're scared of too much.
And I think Extreme know that if that push comes, they just have to play for one final lane of barracks.
This BKB on XM, it's so close and at the same time so far away. You might sell Wand or something for it if this push comes and they feel like they want to fight it. Or just give up another lane here. Time zone used once this game and you got a bear out of it. Not fast enough for what Tundra have presented in this game one. However, BKB done for the SF. And Ames is about 500 away. He'll go to the other side of the map to try and farm it.
I mean, if Tundra really wanted to go for it, they could try and hit that third high ground, but Roshan is up. Probably a sneaking suspicion that they're just going to do that.
I wonder if you try and smoke out and contest this as XG. Because it feels like if you give an Aegis to Tundra, they push your last lane. You're pretty sad in that situation. I mean, Tundra might not even go for this Roche. Just say, screw it, let's just go high ground. They have no answers for the Boots of Bearing that's online for the Clockwork. The double disperser, we're not afraid of time zone right now. You can always make the jump with Ramses as well. Yeah, the push has come. No BKB for Ame, he's 100 off.
All of its attack speed slow is not going to stop Pure with an AC. Shin Q tries to go in, puts him inside of the shard, and with that macro pyre out, they're able to do some damage. They drop the right way in the hole. It's pitiful. He doesn't do nearly the damage that is required. Arena goes down, and it's XM who's going to be the victim instead, perhaps, as all three are going to die, as Soxa What poison cleans up all of them? That is done. Extreme Gaming. They hardly even played this game. 3 kills to their name before they call GG.
That was a very one-sided game in terms of who was controlling the objectives, at least after the first 12 minutes. I don't think that early game was that rough for